Oh, I'm starting?
Yeah, why don't you start?
Okay. Welcome to the Agents of Travel, where I, Rachel Van Ness, otherwise known as Secret Agent Panakukin.
And I, Garrett Palm, otherwise known as Secret Agent Sticky Toffee Pudding.
Oh man, it's hard to come off of that. Oh boy. Collectively, we work for a shadowing of the Office of Tourism, and it's our mission to nail targets with their dream trips.
Yes, we are working our way up through the shadowing of the Office of Tourism. We're secret agents.
We're at the bottom. This is kind of extra credit.
Yeah, we're trying to get better at figuring out people's dream trips for them. So we've been going around interviewing people on their travel styles, where they've gone, where they, what trips they've really enjoyed, in order to really hone our skills at giving people trips that they would love.
Yeah, and this week we cornered, trapped, and interrogated the lovely Mia Schaffler.
Don't worry, we let her go. At the end of this,
sent her off with a lot of pamphlets and brochures.
Mia is a dear friend of ours. We swap dogs. She is a very funny comedian and actor. She has a podcast, P.S. I Love Rom-Coms.
You can watch her perform on UCB Herald Team Leroy.
If you have seen any Apple ads, then you've seen her.
She's also a lovely woman about town, so
yes.
I hope you've run into her.
Oh, if you've run into her, you know what a delight she is.
So
we interviewed her about her previous trips. Also, she's from Portland.
She's from Portland.
And we're about to go to Portland. Actually, by the time this comes to do research. By the time this comes out, we'll have been in Portland.
Yeah, so we'll report back on what we figured out, but
yeah, we're hoping to go to the restaurant con.
We're also going to a Japanese high tea.
Yes, at
place,
Doja Lounge.
The Doja Lounge. We're hoping to go to Mama Dut.
Mama Dut. We're gonna eat our way around Portland, which is what we always do.
We travel, but really what we do is we eat out.
Yeah. We just came back from Seattle, where we just camped. We did eat out. We did go to. We went to Roslyn.
Yeah, where
Washington.
they shot
Northern Exposure, my favorite show growing up.
Mm-hmm. So don't worry, your favorite secret agents are getting up to a lot of travels of their own. But for now, let's launch into Mia's.
Meet up and go to Rosie Bunny Bean.
Bunny Bean.
He loves that place. Every time we walk by, he tries to pull me into there.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited because when they were making it, neither of us had dogs and I didn't know what it was. And then now we both have dogs. We all have dogs and we're really close to it.
Yeah, and we get to feel like bougie bitches walking into Rosie Bunny Bean. Yes. Well, Mia, we haven't been completely honest with you, though. I'm so sorry. We are not actually Garrett Palm and Rachel Van Ness. Those are just aliases we've been living under as long as we've known you.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And we are actually secret agents for the Office of Tourism of the U.S. government.
Oh my God. Stop. What? When did you guys go to school for that? That's
for me, since kindergarten.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer. They picked me up when I was in my late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is, wow. I feel betrayed, but also I like that for you both. So
thank you so much, because our secret mission is to plan you your ideal vacation. So we've got some questions for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is very exciting. I'm a little finicky, so good luck. A little bit picky.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like this might be our hardest assignment yet.
Yeah, they warned us about you, though.
Yeah, they did. Your dossier is very big.
Yeah, not surprised. I'm really looking forward to this, though. Even though I'm upset that you lied to me, but I am looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. Again, I'm so sorry. Okay, first question. Mia, what is your travel style?
Yes. Okay. And by this, you mean how do I like to go? What's my preparation like?
Preparation. Yeah. Do you like to be by yourself or in a group? Do you go by the seat of your pants?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm like 1,000% anal retentive when it comes to traveling. So first of all, it takes me hours to pack. It takes me literal hours to pack.
How
Why?
come?
I honestly, okay, I think it's because when I was young, so it would be like a few times a year after my parents got divorced, my sister and I would go on these trips with my dad. And they would be like into the wilderness. And like he was like one of those sort of like classic gendered fathers of the 90s who was like, didn't know what daughters necessarily need on a vacation. And my sister would always forget everything. So I had to pack like I was like a little kid, but like packing with like the forethought of like a 45-year-old woman and packing for my sister in my bag.
So you were like 6 and you were like, don't worry, I've got the tampons packed for you. Exactly. Also, I don't know what a period is.
Exactly. So, and that that stress has never left me ever. So I mean,
even when you're going alone.
Yeah. I've traveled a lot this year, and it's like every single trip, same thing. It's not always super long. Like there was like 2 times I traveled this year where I was just like, screw it, and just sort of like casually packed. And that was they both worked out fine. But like both
huge.
So I'm slowly getting better, but no, I start ahead of time. I usually make a list. That list usually has the number of days, the temperature of each day, the highs and lows, and then by category what I need to bring. And so I'm like a fairly stressed out traveler.
Does that apply to like booking like tours and that kind of thing? Like, does it apply to every aspect of the trip, or just in making sure you're as prepared for the trip as possible?
That's a good question. No, it's mainly about making sure I'm as prepared as possible. I'm okay improvising once I'm there. But the issue is I have to know what the bounds are so I can be prepared and pack for any eventuality.
So would there ever be a case where it's like, oh, we actually all decide, like, oh, we didn't know there was going to be a hot tub here? Would you be like...
It's my biggest nightmare.
Yeah.
Is that I didn't bring a swimsuit and there was a hot tub. Like that exactly the type of situation that I would, even though it's like you can adjust, you can buy a swimsuit, you can wear your underwear, but I've had been in both of those situations, and I just prefer to have a swimsuit on hand, sometimes 2, depending on the occasion. Yeah, so that's my style, is like stressed out. But I did sort of upgrade this year where I got like really good at my travel style, where I now have like a suitcase and a bag with a trolley sleeve that fits on top of the suitcase. So and the suitcase is like amazing, and it just like sort of stands on its own. So I don't get like back pain. Like I can be in and out of airports very quickly without checking a bag.
Is it one of those like hard shell suitcases that like rolls very smoothly?
Exactly.
Like you have like a bona fide businesswoman suitcase.
Exactly. Now. I've got a businesswoman suitcase, and then I've got like a big like businesswoman bag that slides on top and fits perfectly on top. So I can just put it all together and then just like stroll through the airport. Yeah.
Do you feel like a different confidence moving about the airport with that rolling
1,000%. Because I also find traveling just humiliating. I just feel like we're all so embarrassed. Like we're all like, because we're like carrying all of our things and like having to like shove them in places, and the travel people are always being like, no, it doesn't fit in there. Like, no, you can't do this. So I feel like I'm like where I'm like the fact that I can like have my situation contained and be like highly functional, it like de-stresses me.
Yeah, I've got to say, Mia, it sounds like you're usually traveling from a defensive position.
That's 1,000% correct.
Yes.
Do you like tours, travel groups that put like tours on?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, yeah, I actually do think so. I haven't done a lot of them. I think I would love them because I'm also an introvert. And I recently thought about this, and I was like, I'm someone that I only really like big group activity if it's like very structured. So I think like I've traveled in big groups with no set agenda, and truly I don't care for it. Just to have like 8 people sort of being like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do is like a nightmare to me. So I'm being like, if we have an itinerary that we agreed to beforehand, incredible.
And if it's like we meet you at the airport, we shepherd you through and you get you on the plane and like everything taken care of.
I love that. Yeah, because I travel I've been traveling a fair amount for work, and if there's transportation provided at the airport, that's when I'm like, this is gonna be a great trip. When they're like, just grab a lift and we'll reimburse you, I'm like, no. I'm like, no, honestly, I don't want it to be up to chance.
I am so excited for you to be like in your 60s and going on those like big bus tours, like everything's figured out.
I think I would love it.
Freaking ball.
I think I would love it because I'm also a very fearful person, but I like being alone, and that's like a very difficult combo. So it's like, be in a structured group thing is great. That's great for me. Yeah.
I love that. So Mia, do you enjoy the active traveling? I know so far it sounds like it's a little stressful.
Sounds like it's probably a no.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's a fucking nightmare.
I would say on the whole, like sadly, like generally no. But if I get to do it in my own way, yes. But I would say, and I recently, like, I didn't even know you were allowed to like have that opinion truly culturally until there's this like astrological thing called human design. I'm not an expert on it. I have no idea what it actually is. But like one of the categories of like ways they categorize people, it's like a personality that does not like to travel, and I am that one. And I was like, that's allowed? Okay, yeah.
Wait, so that's like an astrological thing? So like way back to the beginning of time, there were just always people that fucking hated traveling.
It's like, I'm not positive what it is. It's like kind of sounds like halfway between like astrology and Enneagram, but it's like you give them like your time of birth type of thing, and then they're like, oh, you're this type of person, and my type of person doesn't like to travel. And I enjoy it. Like, I've had good times traveling, but it is something I do not go out of my way to do necessarily.
Honestly, I love that for you. Well, because I feel like most people, because you travel quite a bit, and I feel like it's nice to have this perspective, because I feel like a lot of people I've talked to are always like, oh, I'm so wet for travel and new experiences. And it's nice to hear it from the perspective of somebody who's like, I'm very dry for traveling.
I'm so confused. And like, as an introvert, I am like used to being like, okay, my experience is like not always sort of like the median of the bell curve of the human experience in terms of like preferences. So I'm on like being on like dating apps and stuff. It's like everyone's like, oh, I just want to travel all the time and have new experiences all the time. And I'm just like, why? Why?
Yeah, that's a go-to dating app response.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I was like, once I was able to be like, oh my God, that's just like, it's not a core pillar of my personality. I was like, it was really, really relaxing.
I guess it's a nice way to weed people out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like X. But I do like it. I'm not a curmudgeon. I like it sometimes. I'm never like, oh, you know what I would love to do today? Leave my home and all of my belongings and all my snacks.
Well, that's because you don't want to pack all day.
Exactly.
Do you have a preference for like trains versus planes versus like chilling in a lift? Like,
yeah. Okay, Lyft is the last category. I don't like to do a ride share. My first preference for trips is actually road trip. I actually love I actually adore a road trip. Because I really do enjoy like the solo element of travel. Like, I do like being removed from my current situation and having to like be present and having activities that can distract me be limited. So for that reason, I do love a long road trip, and I do love a plane ride by myself where I have either like a lovely book or like a lovely movie to watch, and then I get really like, ooh, I do love that. And trains are good as well. It's hard to say because of COVID, because now traveling has made traveling, if you can imagine, for me even more unpleasant, especially because as a fearful person, I truly am typically wearing 2 masks and a face shield 90% of the time. So So I would go road trip. I would go driving, airplane, then trains, then rideshare.
I love that though, because like what you touched on with like a good book or a good movie is like, that's an aspect of traveling that I really like, which is that it feels like in my whole existence, the one time I'm justified to just relax and enjoy a simple pleasure like a book or a podcast, and to not feel productive and to just enjoy sort of passing the time.
Same. Yeah, I think it takes me back to like a different time period as well, where like when I was like a kid and like if you were in your room, that was sort of like all that was available to you. So it's like I do love being on a plane alone and being like, I have to read this book because it's there's nothing else to do. I do love that.
I mean, and then, watch something on the screen in front of you, and you're forced to choose from, one of 10 different, 4 episodes from 10 different shows.
Yes. Yeah. You can get into like new stuff. I recently was on a plane and I had to turn to the guy next to me and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is a 3-hour flight. I'm about to start the Joy Luck Club. Like, I'm going to be crying. I was like, and you need to know that. And it's okay. But like, that's what's going to happen. And it is. I was crying with like 2 masks on, just being like, oh my God. Yeah, I do love it.
Yeah, and now you're the person sitting next to you is like, yeah, the flight was great, except my whole left side is damp from the other passengers' tears.
Yeah.
So, Mia, you touched on this a little bit, but we're curious. What was your favorite family trip growing up? What made it like an iconic trip?
Okay, well, so based on how I like to travel, my favorite family trip, I think is wait, let me think. Is this the one? Yeah. Okay. My favorite family trip is like a road trip to California we took where we went down the 101.
Oh.
And I was still like that age where you're still like really absorbing new music. So I had like a lot of really good music. So I drove down the 101 with my parents. I'm the youngest of 4 children. And it was like, so by the end, I was like the last one at home. And we would just like randomly took a lot of road trips. So we drove down the 101. Listening to the audiobook Gone Girl. And we were supposed to, right, before anybody knows what's happening there, before anybody knew about the twist, we were listening to Gone Girl for the first time. And we were supposed to like break it up into 2 trips. And then instead just drove straight through because we were so into the audiobook.
I love how this started off as, you were really absorbing all this new music. And then
and the music was just an audio book.
Yeah. Well, we like flip in between depending on the amount of time. But yeah, so I love that. And then like getting to California and getting to be on the beach with like a good book and family. Okay, so they're kind of bleeding. Sorry, I think I'm combining 2 road trips in my mind. But there was like the Gone Girl road trip that was straight through. And then there was like a family road trip where we went to Palm Springs. And this is like so sad. But I just had like I was honestly, this is one from when I was younger, but there's another one where we drove to Palm Springs and I was reading the Da Vinci Code, which is so
hell yeah.
It had just come out. It was such a fun book. And it was, I was reading the Da Vinci Code and The Office season 1 was airing. And we had like a house with a pool. And it's like, I would be by the pool reading the Da Vinci Code. And then I would be like watching The Office with my family at night. And like, that was just like the best.
I mean, this sounds very because as a kid, we would drive down from Portland to Southern California all the time, and I was always reading Dragonlance novels, or playing my Game Boy, or reading Forgotten Realms, of a lot of fantasy novels.
And it's before smartphones, so there's no Instagram, there's no Facebook, there's not even MySpace, I don't think, and if there is, you can't access it on your phone. So it's like, was just like such a lovely, so anyways, that's like what I just remember like so fondly. It was just like going.
I was also gonna say too, though, like I feel like an element of that you touched on too is like it's so cool when your whole family is into the same story. So like listening to Gone Girl with your family is such a treat. It's like this last time I went home, my mom, my sister, and I watched Queen's Gambit together. And it's just like such a treat to watch it with your family. And then like we would go on hikes and talk about it. That's just like such a lovely energy to be in.
And it's a bit also like returning to a previous time with like monoculture, right? Where like people were experiencing the same content at the same time and engaging about it. And now everything's so stratified. That like I love being like, okay, we're all like we spent one vacation watching this reality show called Celebrity Mole Hawaii. And it was the best. And we spent on another vacation watching like a season of Project Runway all together. I love getting everyone on board for like
just pure trash too.
Oh my God. Incredible.
Oh, that's great. I love that. So going off of these good vibes, Mia, can you tell us a story about the best trip you've ever had?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm embarrassed, but also I'm not, now that I have my human design thing and I know that it's like absolutely like a human attribute to not be so into travel. So as you guys know, I'm from like the greater Portland area in Oregon. And my favorite travel memory is actually so back when Oregon used to not have as many consecutive hot days in the summer, there would and Garrett, do you remember this? It's like there would be a handful of days where it was really hot at the coast. Like it was really hard to get to the coast for a hot day.
Because I remember it was only hot on the coast if it was cold in Portland.
Oh my gosh.
That was my experience of it. And then if it was hot in Portland, it would be cold in the coast.
Oh, that's so funny. But
that may just be like, my family's like, like maybe that. Once or twice that actually happened. And
that's how it worked.
We were like, that's the rule.
Yes. We would do the like, because I feel like it was like rarely 100 in Portland. So if it was, we would like rush we would drop everything and go to the coast because we would be like, oh my God, it's 100 in Portland. We have to go to the beach because we could get a hot day at the beach. So like my favorite memory is like a day like that with my family where we like dropped everything, went to the beach. We went to like Gearhart on the Oregon coast. It's like 80 degrees on the Oregon coast, which may be more common now, but it wasn't as common when I was younger. And
sweltering.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It was like amazing. And so I'm on the beach. I'm reading. Sorry, all of these are so similar because like I'm experiencing like popular content for the first time. Okay, but picture this. And I'm underage. My parents are chic. I'm the youngest of 4. I'm not 21, but I'm at the coast with my parents, and I'm like a cool older teen though. And because I'm the youngest of 4, I have a Corona with a lime, and I'm reading. And I'm reading one of the Hunger Games for the first time. And I'm on a hot beach on the Oregon coast, and we get pizza. And I have played for my family Florence and the Machine's like first big album on the drive.
And you were like the fucking hero for introducing this to everybody.
We were mesmerized. We were all mesmerized. So it was just like, again, it's like escaping. I do maybe have a smartphone at this point, but there's no social media whatsoever on it. And I'm just like enjoying like huge pop culture moments for the first time with my family in like a beautiful, and that's really my vibe is like, if I do travel, I just want to be on a beach, like doing an introvert activity, like reading or like maybe a paddleboard, maybe a hike, but truly I just want to be like at a beach or on a pool, like reading something amazing or watching good content with people. Like truly, like I define all the trips by the music I was listening to and the books I read and what I watched while I was there. But
oh my gosh, I love that. You're also like so like media oriented in a very cool way. Like I find myself listening to you and getting very nostalgic for things I like don't even remember.
Oh my gosh, can I hit you with another one?
Please.
Yes. Okay, there's a trip to Cabo I took with my family where my brother brought that first big LCD sound system album that had like New York, I Love You, and like All My Friends, and like just I don't know why it's like all the big trips in my memory have like whatever sort of popular content was that like sort of makes it nostalgic. But
so do you ever listen to those songs and get nostalgic for those trips? Like will they be tied forever to those places?
1,000%. I was just thinking about that today.
Gorgeous.
Because I have throughout the last like however long we've been in this pandemic situation, I drove between LA and Portland straight a few times, and there's like one playlist I made for one of the trips, and I was just like, oh my God, all of these songs will like no matter where I am, if I hear any of these songs, they're always like take me back to this like very specific time I drove to Portland in August of 2019. I have no. It was 2020. 2020. I have no idea. Yeah, August of 2020. I was just thinking about that today. But the best one was the Oregon coast, Florence and the Machine, Hunger Games, Corona pizza family.
That's an incredible combination.
What's the pizza portion?
Oh, huge. 2 slices of pepperoni that are huge.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely huge.
And that's like the sloppy, greasy kind?
Yeah, absolutely. Super greasy. What about you guys? Do you guys have like a trip that's like you associate very much with like an album or a movie or a book?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I do have a lot with road trips too. There's like especially driving to my sister lives in Colorado. And so driving to Colorado, I would always listen to the song is Fur by
Blitzen Trapper.
Blitzen Trapper.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Driving through Colorado, listening to Fur. As soon that like if I listen to that song, all I see are the Rocky Mountains. It's just it's right as you're at the spot where you're kind of like passing where you would turn off to go to Aspen. The canyon gets really tight on the freeway, and just Fur playing right there is just like, oh, I'm close to my sisters. I don't know. I love the Rockies. I've spent time out there, and yeah, it's just that song and like the whole playlist that I built around that, which is actually called the PDX 18 playlist on my Spotify, because I first made it for driving to Portland, but now it's like pretty ingrained just because there is nothing like that tight canyon right around Aspen on the 70. Yeah, so it's like that image. Even though I made it for a Portland trip, it's like tied to Colorado for me.
Oh my God.
I've got two pretty lame ones. So I would say like I'm not a very music centric person. Like I can think of like albums that were like for each year of college.
Yeah.
But as far as trips go, the thing I can think of is when I studied abroad in Chile, the two songs we just listened to all the time, and this is going to take you back, were I'm Sexy and I Know It.
Oh my God. The Jersey Shore theme song?
Yes. Yeah. And Mike Snow's, is it like Animal? The like, I shift shapes just to hide in this place.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I love that song. I love that song.
It's such a great song. Yeah, so we'd listen to those ones all the time.
Oh my God. I love both those. I love it when you have like songs that are tied to a specific time and place. I think it's like very romantic in a fun way.
Well, and it'll make you keep that song around even if it isn't to your taste anymore.
Yeah.
It gets to stay.
Oh, 1,000.
So Mia, can you tell us a story about your worst trip?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. It's tied. Okay, do I want to, it's either best trip turned, no, let's do Slovakia. Okay. So Slovakia was a bit of a rough one. Yeah. I studied abroad. I was like very last minute. Like a lot of the programs they had like a certain amount of language requirement that you have classes you had to take, and you needed to plan like a certain amount of time ahead. And I was like, okay, where can I go next semester with like no prerequisites? And there was like, I was in the journalism school, and there was like a program going to Vienna, Austria. And I was like, why not? I was like, I don't know anything about it, but Billy Joel wrote a song about it. So like maybe it's fantastic. And went on this like really wild, and not in like a fun part, like not in like a fun crazy way, just like a very bizarre study abroad program of 9 people total for 3 months. Like it was so bizarre. And to Vienna, Austria, which was like very beautiful. And it was a journalism thing that like one of our professors took us all, and we had classes, and so we had to go on like reporting assignments, and they would just like send us by train elsewhere. So one of the assignments was to go to Slovakia, and we had like, it was like a week where we were going to like all different like neighboring countries for different stories. And we got assigned, it was just like a wild time. It was like, we got assigned to do a story. It was like, okay, you're going to go to Slovakia. And it was like, okay, my group got assigned to do a story on like the Roma community. And it was like somehow the night before, I don't remember where this happened, but it was like, I was like on a team of 3 with like 2 other guys. And one of the guys and I didn't even think it was an argument. I was like, we were talking about the Roma community. And I was like, I think I was like, I was like, okay, yes, like the Roma, like I was talking about how like they, that it was, from like what I understood, it was like, there was like a lack of clarity about like where that community originated from. Yes. And that was like an element in Europe. And then one of the guys in my group got very offended by that and was like, that's not true. That's my heritage. And like, that's not true. And got very upset with me. And then the next day I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought that was the situation. And then we get on the train to Slovakia, and that guy's not there. And it turned out it's like he was Romanian. And so he was confused. and thought they were the same thing. And I think
no.
Yeah. So then we were like, oh my God, this guy didn't show up for the reporting trip. And then it was like, and then later we were like, oh, it was maybe because of that argument and because he got so upset and then it wasn't true. So then he like didn't show up. So at first it starts off bad because we're like missing a member of our 3-person crew and we're like going to a different country and we're like, okay, well that guy's missing. So it's me and this guy. And who is like my who is like a good friend on the trip. And we go to Slovakia and they're just like, good luck. You're just going to do a story on the Roma. And we were like, okay. And we like get there and we're like, okay, let's have lunch. And we go to this stand. And for some reason, we hadn't had like a good cheeseburger in a long time, even though I do remember Vienna had like McDonald's.
For some reason.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they had McDonald's, but I just for some reason, right?
Wait, Mia, do you think McDonald's is a good cheeseburger normally?
No, I don't. And in fact, I don't. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Because you said... just being like, well, they had a McDonald's and it doesn't measure up. Like, it made me think that you were relying on this.
No, I guess I'm just being like, why was I so like, oh, I would love a cheeseburger. But for some reason, me and the guy who did show up, we go to this stand to have a cheeseburger and we're so excited. We get the cheeseburger, we take a few bites. We realize the burger itself is like hot pink cat food that looks like it. It looks like hot pink cat food at room temperature. And we look at the stand and we're like, there's no refrigeration or like ice. Like we're like, oh my, like we were like, okay, we're in a different country, we're missing a person, and like we don't speak the language, and now we've just like, we're absolutely gonna get food poisoning. So then we were like, and this was our genuine problem solving thought process. We were like, we're gonna go to a bar and we're gonna take shots of vodka because that is gonna like chase it down,
sterilize our stomachs,
kill whatever's down there. So then we did. So anyways, it was just like very wild and stressful. But then we like walk into like an antique store and we're just like we're just like asking the people in the store about the Roma community. We're just like, we don't know what this is like. We don't know what to do here. And then the guy who's like not speaking any English and like we don't speak the same language at all is like, he's like, follow me, and he takes us out of the store and he like walks us down the street and walks us into this building, and he ends up taking us to a nonprofit that works with the Roma community.
Wow.
That's great.
And then we ended up actually like falling into this like amazing situation, and got like, and had like, it was like it ended up being like a very like enriching and cool experience. But it was just like the first leg of that trip was like absolutely wild.
I'm also in the same boat as you. Is like, well, one, when I'm abroad, I would totally crave a cheeseburger too because I just want a comfort food. And the second I had tried that hot cat food and it didn't measure up, I would have been so fucking devastated. That would have ruined my whole day alone. Yeah, a lot's riding on that burger to be good because that's Europe just like your quick taste of home.
Yeah, they used to be so behind on burgers in Europe. Like they just can't.
We didn't have access to it. We couldn't get access to like burgers or Mexican was like the hardest thing. The Mexican food in Vienna was insane. It was like very.
I don't think you can get Mexican food anywhere else but Latin America. Like nobody does it well.
It was very weird. Sorry, no, I sound like I'm complaining. I'm not. I just, you know me. I just like my creature comforts.
No. Even in Edinburgh, they would have these burritos that had like mango chutney in them or something, where it was just like they had so clearly missed the mark.
Yeah.
And we're not even close.
Right. And then you're just like, I don't know what this is. Yeah. So anyways, it was just like stressful and odd. And then it turned out really lovely actually in the end. But it was just like, it was just bizarre. And you're just like somewhere you don't know. And then you have bad food that you don't know if is okay for you. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to take gross shots of vodka. And then I'm like going to try to go just talk to people. And then it turned out great. But that was just like one of the harder days I remember.
So did you get food poisoning or did the vodka work?
No, the vodka worked. Highly recommend.
Wow.
Okay. Go take some shots of
vodka. This leads me to our next question. What's the tastiest thing you've eaten abroad?
Okay, so this is great.
Coming from the worst.
Yeah, I know. I'm so happy to like redeem myself and be like, okay, this is actually.
Let's get away from that cat food.
I actually do like some things, and some things about traveling. Okay, so I actually was just in Mexico City in June, and I had the most amazing ceviche. And it's like, I know you can get ceviche here, and absolutely you can, and it's good. But I was like, went to this restaurant, and we had like the most amazing seafood and the most amazing ceviche, and I was like, I would eat this for every meal for the whole meal. All the time. So there was that. In Austria, I did really appreciate their schnitzel situation. It was fun.
Ooh.
Like the things that my host family would turn into a schnitzel, they would be like, we made these big leaves into a schnitzel. And I was like, that's really cool. That's like,
whoa.
Yeah.
So were they just like deep frying everything? And what do you mean by leaves?
I don't know. So they had this. My host parents, Sigrid and Hubert, had so they lived in Vienna. They had a flat in Vienna, which me and my roommate lived with them, and then they had a country house with a garden. And so I forget what they were called, but they were like these giant like maple looking leaves that they deep fried, and they were like, we made you schnitzel, and I was like, dope, schnitzel, and it was like, no, it was like deep fried leaves, but it was really good. It was really good.
So, because my ignorant brain, like I only know schnitzel is like pounded and fried pork, I think.
Yeah, and that's traditional.
Because then there used to be this vegan German restaurant near us that had a vegan schnitzel that we loved.
Oh.
And Hinterhof, shout out to Hinterhof.
Oh, did that go away?
It went away. It's now a vegan sports bar.
Oh.
But they, I would hear people be like, oh, vegan schnitzel, not very traditional, is it? But to hear that they make schnitzel out of leaves in Vienna.
Yeah, Sigrid made us like vegetable schnitzel. It was good. I liked it.
I also love that, like, I love that you can deep fry anything and call it schnitzel.
I know.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, that makes me think like here you could deep fry Oreos and be like, yeah, it's Oreo schnitzel.
Sweet schnitzel.
Sweet schnitzel. Sweet schnitzel.
Yeah, that's hard to say. Sweet schnitzel.
I wanted to circle back to the ceviche though. What made it so good? Was it that it was so fresh? Or like walk us through what was so great about it?
I think it was just so fresh. We had this like amazing meal. I was in Mexico City for work, and I was out with some coworkers, and it was like the one sort of free day we had. And it was like we went to this restaurant. At first everyone was like, well, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then we ended up doing family style, and I was so excited because we had like sopas, we had like this giant fish, we had ceviche, we had like all these amazing things. And so I think it was just like the fact that we were there for work, the fact that we had this like beautiful free day. And it's like, again, like I'm not like the best candidate for traveling in groups. And it was like the fact that we all didn't know each other before, but it was like we became like instant travel family, like had a really fun date all together, and then had like a really successful dinner all together where it was like, it was sort of, people were like very easygoing, and we had like amazing food and cocktails and just like had a great time. So I think that was part of it too. And I just remember that the ceviche was just, it was just so fresh. It was so tasty. And I just like hadn't had ceviche like that. And I was just like,
it's kind of interesting, Mia. I've got to call you out on this because you talk a lot about really wanting these like planned, manicured moments. But all the moments you talk about as being special are the spontaneous ones that you just kind of stumble into,
and
which I think is very funny.
And the ceviche story, like most of your stories are how much fun you have by yourself. And this ceviche story is about sharing all of this. And I mean, part of it is family meal. You get to taste all these different things.
Yes. No, it's true. No, you guys are super right. I think maybe there is an element of like these last minute moments sort of take out the stress of planning, right? Where I can't really plan and have to go with it. So maybe that's why I do end up enjoying them. Where it's I wouldn't plan to be, what do you call it? I wouldn't plan to be like spur
with a random group of people, or you wouldn't plan to be spontaneous.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't like plan on being like, I'm just going to go and see what happens. But if I'm there, and then it's like, okay, now you can go and see what happens, I am like more okay with that.
And it's spontaneous. It's still in a structure. You're still down there for that shoot, and you've got plans for the day. But then these moments are spontaneous.
Yeah. And it was also helpful that like we also made a very structured plan where we were like, we are walking to this neighborhood to go to this market, and then we are going to this restaurant. And that does help me. It just helps me not stress.
No, that's nice though, because then you don't have to be the person who's like, so where are we going to eat? Well, this person wants this and this person wants this, and nobody actually wants to say what they want. Like,
right. Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah. And I think those are the moments on group trips that I cannot handle. Because I think also traveling, it like can like, it puts people in a very strange place sometimes. You know, where it's like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes like the worst of people's personalities can come out traveling. So I hate to be in like a hungry group of tired people who are in an unfamiliar place trying to make decisions. Like, I just don't even want to see people. I don't want them to see me watching them in that state. So yeah, if it's like, and this just worked out, it would just worked out really well. We had this really like, beautiful meal of food that like we wouldn't normally have, and it was so great.
So what tourist attraction lived up to the hype for you, and which one did not live up to the hype?
Okay, the one that definitely lived up to the hype is, have you guys been to Yosemite before?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what is that thing called? I always forget what it's called, but it's sort of
Half Dome?
Yeah, Half Dome. Okay, so Half Dome is the one that holds up, where it's like, it's like a very like famous like part of Yosemite. But first of all, Yosemite in general, absolutely stunning, like so beautiful. Like I was like, I was absolutely blown away. And then with Half Dome, right, you're like, oh, this is where people take pictures, blah blah blah. Before I knew what it was, we were driving by it during a sunset, just going to where we were staying, and we were like, holy shit, stop the car, get out, what is happening? And it was like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it's like very touristy and very famous and blah blah, and it's like absolutely lives up to the hype and is amazing, and there's a reason so many people are obsessed with it.
Yeah, John Muir knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So which one didn't live up to the hype?
Spill
some tea on this.
Okay, let me think. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's also another one that really lives up to the hype. I'm just gonna throw this in. I studied abroad. I also went to Budapest, and like the Budapest baths really lived up to the hype. That's like a big touristy thing to do, and it's so fun. And it's before I'd ever been to something like that in the US, which now it's like I have been to like certain situations like that that are similar, but that was awesome. Okay, another one. Okay, so one that doesn't hold up is, and we knew this wasn't going to, but I went on a cruise with my first Herald team to Ensenada in Mexico, and it was the same kind of thing where we didn't have like you can get off for like a few hours, and we just got like swindled into going on like a planned group excursion where you paid money, they took you on a bus to like go to this like sort of like famous like water feature there, that it's like there's like a natural spring or geyser like off of the ocean type of situation, and it was just like a massive tourist trap where you just like you sort of just like walk down this like road of it's like a market, but it's like a very clearly touristy market, and then you like can take a picture at the thing and then go home. And that was just like a little bit like, oh my god, we paid a bunch of money to come here, and it's like very we're just stuck here now. Like just and the only thing we can do is like buy stuff. So yeah, that one, if you go to Ensenada, you don't have to go to that. It's nice, it's fine. You don't have to go to
That's such a bummer too, though, when you start being like, well, maybe I do need this touristy clay pot. Maybe I should grab it.
And I got like a room temperature pina colada and a giant pineapple that was like so gross, which is my fault. It's my fault. Everyone there was lovely. You should go. It's nice. It's fine. But it's not the Yosemite or the Budapest bath situation where you're like, this is incredible. I'm so happy to be traveling.
I know, if only a cruise dropped you off in Yosemite, that would be great.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Oh man.
Next question. Mia, what has been your biggest fish out of the water? Let me test it again.
Out of the water.
Out of the water. Mia, what has been your biggest fish out of water moment? Like the furthest away from home you felt?
Oh, okay. So I'm like also very like youngest child vibes sometimes. I think on a traveling, I can either be like the younger child who's like screwing up, or like the mother who's in charge of everything. When I was in Austria in my study abroad program, two of us, so it was a group of three of us, went to Budapest for fun. So the Budapest trip was great, but the first night I was in charge of booking the hostel, and I ended up like booking it on the wrong side of town in like this very scary like hostel where we like shared a room with this like very scary man, and it was just like I just like messed up so hard. And it was like me and my two friends, and we were like in a booth. And the reason I booked it is because it was like you get like a free welcome beer and all these things that sounded really fun, but it was just completely bizarre. It was like there was like a weird
and
man
you get a free man in your room.
You get a
Wait,
free
why was he
like,
very scary?
A scary man.
Why was he so scary?
I don't know. He just like wasn't really engaging and was like very drunk and was like, I just don't know. He was just kind of like seedy and like not like engaging. And then there was like a group of children there with their teachers, and they were like throwing a dinner for their teachers. And we were like, why are they doing this? And they were like, what's going on? They were like, oh, they're apologizing for what they did. And we were like, well, what did they do? And we were like, we can't tell you. It was just like,
what?
It was just like really unsettling and bizarre. And so that we had like so that I was like trying to make it fun, and I was like, no, you guys, come on, like let's go drink our free beers. And it was like the night or like the week that song like We're Up All Night to Get Lucky came out. So we were just like in the booth of this hostel, all like very stressed and like out of our element and like kind of in a scary place. And then the people in the hostel just keep playing that song the whole time.
Oh my God.
And it was just like a really interesting time. And then we switched, and then the two people I was with, were like, we're moving hostels, switches to this hostel called like Grand Partio Sex Hostel or something. It was wild. Like the staff had like scheduled orgies together from what they told us. And then we didn't like super in we like
you didn't partake.
No, they were like, you can go on this cruise, and then every time we pass the bridge you have to make out with a different person. It did sound interesting to me at the time. It just wasn't really our vibe. It was just me and like my two friends, and none of us, it was just like not our vibes. But we went to like the baths instead, and then went to like the ruin bars, which are like old ruins that they turn into nightclubs, which was very cool. But yeah, the first part of the trip that I was in charge of, I felt very fish out of water. I felt very uncomfortable, and I felt very disappointed in myself. And then my friends took us to the cool orgy hostel, and that was better.
I love that the orgy hostel was so much better than this other one, where like I feel like I would have been overwhelmed at the orgy hostel immediately, but the other one sounds like almost like where Pinocchio ends up, like with all the like lost boys and stuff.
It was just like weird. It just nothing added up. It was like, why are there children here? What did the bad children do? Why won't anyone tell us? It was like just
and then they're like, we have a bunch of clowns in the basement. We don't know how they got here, and we can't get them out.
It just wasn't a fun vibe. There was like nothing nearby, and everyone was kind of like, Mia, what did you do? And I was like, we'll have a free beer.
It's all worth it.
Yeah, so that's that.
God. So Mia, if you could step into any moment from your travels anytime you wanted, what quintessential perfect moment would you pick?
I would be on the beach in Gearhart with my Corona and my Hunger Games book. I just love that. So it was just so nice. I just felt so good.
Yeah.
I just love that a lot. I would go there.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah. No follow-ups there.
Do you guys have one that you would slip into?
Oh.
I know we ask these questions and we don't have answers to them.
You don't have to. I just also feel, but I know it's the structure, so I want to answer them all.
There's so many. There's so... Yeah. I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is hanging out at a waterfall in Burkina Faso.
Oh, wow.
And just like out in the middle of nowhere, camping by the waterfall with some Rastafarians. And it's just this beautiful waterfall looking over I guess it was like the Sahel, the sub-Saharan like area. And just, we were just like finding these little pools and just hanging out in there.
Oh, that's
and drinking beer. It was great.
I mean, I'm so obsessed with the Edinburgh Fringe. Like that was truly such a big highlight of my life. And I think I'm a very like busybody, and I love that I was like busy with purpose the whole time. And so I feel like just being at the end of a day of like hustling around for like 14 hours and watching a Baby Wants Candy show in a theater full of people who are just like really enjoying it. And your legs are just, or my legs were so tired, and I would be eating like a Cadbury Oreo bar, just like so pleased and watching the show and just laughing so hard. For me, that's one I wish I could hop back into.
Oh, that's beautiful. God, those are both stunning. Yes. Oh, I love those.
Thank you.
So, Mia, is there a local custom you've observed while traveling that you have implemented or wish you would implement into your daily life?
Okay, it's not so much for custom, but something I did steal from Austria is, okay, they've got like an amazing wine culture where it's like
this is where it started for you?
Yeah, this is where I became a lush. Like okay, for some reason, I don't know how we were so bad at traveling this whole time. Somehow we got on this like amazing trip where we took a bus to like the edge of Vienna, and I forget what they're called. It's like Vorhelgen or something. But basically you like hike through these mountains to different wineries that are in the mountains. So there's like a hike. You go and you hike and you drink wine and you hike. And then one time our host parents took us to this like, it's like so beautiful. It's like these wineries out in the country. And like you bring dinner, like you bring snacks and dinner and stuff, and then they give you like a carafe of white wine and a carafe of soda water, and you do like white wine and soda water for spritzer. And my host parents were like, "Cause Mia, you get hydrated while you drink the wine." But we just had this like really amazing, beautiful night where it was like there was some sort of history where it's like the wineries hang these like branches to signify this thing that I've forgotten. I was more focused on the wine, I guess. I'm a terrible, terrible bad American. I know.
It's very meaningful. It's very meaningful. Very impactful.
It was super meaningful, super beautiful. A lot of history, and so they hang the branches, and then you go in and you drink the wine. But so I will say the one thing I did take from that is like dry white wine and soda water. So I came back and was like at my college parties after was like, I'm doing spritzer this evening, and I would just have like soda water and white wine, and I would be like, does anybody want any? And everyone would be like, no, and I'd be like, okay. And then
I love that they're like, she's one of the Austria kids.
Yeah. I just like I spent 3 months with like only 8 other people, and I just come back and I just like cannot connect. So I did take white wine spritzer from Austria.
Yeah, I think Rachel and I picked up from Sevilla Tinto de Faranja, which is red wine and 7-Up.
Oh my god, my brother came back from Spain doing red wine and Diet Coke.
Yes, that's another.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. The one I co-sign is the soda water and dry white wine. I don't know about the one you said, and I don't like the one my brother did, but the one I did love that.
Gotta try
and then
it.
also my host parents just having like an apartment in the city and a country home. I mean, I know that's like a wealth type of thing, but like it was so lovely, and I was like, what an amazing way to live. And they took us to like their little country, beautiful like country house and country town that was truly like an anthropology catalog set at like a tiny Woodstock. It was so confusing. It was so beautiful.
Well, you're almost doing that right now because you have your parents' villa in Lake Oswego, and then you have your place down here in LA. So you're kind of doing it.
I actually am kind of doing, I guess it's just like city or like suburb city.
I know.
Suburb.
But
I am sort of like bouncing between. Yeah, I am like having a bit of a bounce between life right now.
But it's very refined.
Oh, wait. And that also just made me think of a really beautiful travel moment I should have shared before.
Yes.
Which is, for some reason, I just always traveled with my friends Nick and Darcy on that trip. But Nick and Darcy died, so we went to Budapest together. But we also went to Salzburg, Austria together. And we were like, the one thing Nick wanted to do was go to like this brewery that was a monastery. It was like these monks brewed this beer. And it was like we weren't going to make it, and it was closed or whatever. But we were hanging out outside. It's like finally someone let us in. And it was like the most beautiful, amazing thing where it's like these monks brewed this beer called Märzen, and it was like the best beer I've ever had. And there is like, it is. Okay, I know I started this out saying I don't like traveling. And do I like physically traveling, like getting to the airport and packing? No. Do I have really special, beautiful memories of when I travel? Absolutely.
I know. I feel like I've heard of this monastery before.
It's amazing. If you ever go to Salzburg, couldn't tell you where it is, couldn't tell you how I got there. We almost didn't find it ourselves. Oh my God, I have a coaster from it somewhere. Oh, I guess I also picked up smoking for a bit. After all.
You did?
Yeah. I picked up.
I feel like a lot of study abroad students who go to Europe pick up smoking.
Yeah, we all picked up smoking.
Feels so cool.
It was we felt very chic, and then I got back and I felt even more chic, and then eventually it had to stop, and now I can't. I couldn't, but I did. That was another thing.
Do you ever crave a cigarette or no?
No, that's why I stopped. The first time I ever felt a craving for one, I was like, okay, gotta stop this. And then I recently, obviously it's been a hard time. So I went over like the holidays. I was like, I'm gonna pick up smoking again and see what happens. And I like think I gave myself a peptic ulcer. Like I'm such a like not a fun person. Like I can't do anything sort of like nefarious. Like I immediately just get ill. So I like had a chain smoking night. I had a night where I just like had a few cigarettes, and I was just like in bed the next day because my stomach was so upset. And I was like, cool, I guess I can't do anything fun.
You're like Chris Traeger from Parks and Rec, where it's like his body's a finely tuned machine, and if anything is off, it's like devastating. I feel like that's you in a nutshell.
It is me. I'm just such a sensitive lady on every single front. So yeah, I like can't do anything cool or like sort of maybe bad for you and dangerous and chic. It's like, no, it's just bad for me. Okay, yeah. But those are I just remembered the monk thing and I was like, wait, that was like one of my favorite travel moments ever. Okay. I would go back to that as well. I would slip back into that as well. Okay, fine. So, you convinced me. I like travel. Whatever.
Yeah, you freaking liar.
I knew it.
You guys knew it. We both lied to each other.
We're all liars here.
We're all liars here.
I think we are zeroing in on your dream vacation. Rachel and I are both going to present competing ones. But before we do that, we want to do a lightning round to just tabulate our results, get it, fine tune it, get it just right for you. Okay. Are you ready for a lightning round, Mia?
Absolutely.
So, okay, Rachel and I are going to alternate. I'll go first. You ready? Beach or mountains? It's
hard, but beach. Both are great, but beach. Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
City or country?
Country.
Beer or wine?
Beer. Oh my God, that's great. What a crazy thing for me to say, but I said it. Beer.
History or the scene?
History.
Clubs or cafes?
Cafes. I'm no fun. Everything is
no, fair.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Fancy or casual?
Fancy.
Fancy.
Mia regretting every single answer she gives within a half second.
They just don't make sense. Continue.
Okay, no. Fast or slow?
Slow.
And then finally, dogs or cats or cows or monkeys?
Dogs.
Hell cool. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Yay! This is very good. Very good.
Oh, thank you.
Oh man, this is going to be a challenging one.
I know. I felt bad. The consistency was not there, but that's
no.
No,
I have gone through several different trips for you that I have changed over and over.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm kind of zeroing in. I'm going to be going out on a limb here.
All right, so we had a little pause. We had a little break where a computer died.
We're not going to say whose.
We're not going to say whose.
I'll never tell.
So we've had some time between the last time we recorded and this segment. So Rachel and I have had a lot of time to think and research, doubt ourselves, delete everything that we've come up with, type up something new, wonder if this is the right course we're going down. And I think we've got our presentations ready for you.
Yeah, and the stakes have never been higher because, as again, we are competing for a promotion. And so, and I really need to get this one. I need a win, but Mia, don't let that influence who's you go with. But shit. You know, I'm really gunning for this one.
Oh shit. Okay.
I mean,
really. I just pick one.
Yeah, and you just pick one. But now I feel like you're gonna pick Rachel's just because.
No, well, what's at stake for you, Garrett? I'll choose based on the trip. I promise you, I will choose based solely on the trip.
Okay, close your eyes.
Okay.
So you won't see who's talking to you.
Yeah.
That's a great solution because your voices are so similar. So that's the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, I've got a deep baritone. You can't even tell who's talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go first, Rachel?
You know what? I can go first. Very often, most of the time I go last.
Yeah.
So this time, because I was able to research a little bit, I'll go first. Okay, so Mia, here's the dream trip I am offering to you.
Okay.
We are talking 10 days to 2 weeks in Portugal and Spain. And so for the first half, it's going to be a guided, it's kind of like a tour package. So you don't have to plan anything. All of your
Oh my
meals are
God.
arranged at like all these wonderful places, and you don't have to plan a thing. All the alcohol is paid for. There's
Oh my
like
God.
a lovely elderly couple you're really hitting it off with. There's another woman who's like never been married, but she's like this badass bitch who like feels like you could see yourself being in the future. It's just full of like great conversation. And in Portugal, where you're going to go is you're going to go to Lisbon, Portugal. Sorry, Portugal.
Portugal. Okay, great.
He's trying to undercut me, but I'm not going to fold under the pressure.
He's trying to gun for promotion here.
Normalize saying things wrong, being corrected, and taking the no. So we're going to go to Lisbon, which is known for its like beautiful cobblestone streets, Moorish architecture, amazing.
I do love architecture.
Yes. Amazing food, lots of seafood. And then you'll also go to Sintra, which to me in my research sounded, am I totally saying it wrong too, Garrett?
No. This was actually my trip as well, but I had it back.
Oh my gosh. So
wait, how similar?
Keep going.
Okay, so you'll go to Sintra, which sounds amazing. It's like this fairy tale town. And so there are castles. There are like, again, more cobblestones, but they have castles from the 16th and 17th centuries. And there's even like a castle that's like usually surrounded by fog, but peeking out over the ocean. It sounds amazing.
My God.
Yes.
Stop.
And then
that's crazy.
You'll get to go down to, and I'm going to butcher this, but Algarve, which is the southernmost province of Portugal. And it has these amazing beaches. So you'll get to soak out in the sun, read your book, and it's recommended that you travel by car. So you'll get a road trip around. So I'm going to say that you're reading like the Final Girls support group. You're listening to who's big right now? Like Olivia Rodrigo, kind of like driving around, reading your book, enjoying the beach.
Wow.
Spain will kind of continue this tone. You'll go to Madrid, where you'll get to go to beautiful art galleries, and there are plenty of beautiful parks where you can just go enjoy an afternoon in the park, then get sangria in the afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
And because I know you mentioned beer, it's got a great food scene in that you can go to any bar and get your tapas with it. So free tapas.
Oh my God, stop.
I know. Amazing. I think this is as I was looking this up, I was like, I want to go. And then Barcelona, yeah. You would get more beach, Sevilla, more history and architecture, but basically I'm sending you to Portugal and Spain to enjoy lots of sun, architecture, history, some just beach bumming, and some really great food along the way. So that's my trip that I am offering to you.
Oh my gosh, wow. I feel really sort of seen and articulated because I didn't sort of share my love of public spaces. Like in Paris, Luxembourg Gardens is like one of my favorite places I've ever been. Mm-hmm. And also, well, I mean, you guys probably knows about me because I actually sort of know the agents from outside of this event.
You know our aliases. You don't know our true lives.
I know their aliases. Yeah.
You don't know our hidden life.
Exactly. But I also, of course, because it's not that this is impressive or unique, but I do have a genuine and everlasting love for Harry Potter. So obviously, sort of like castles, whimsical stuff is very also tickles me. So wow, really?
And a very big Jane Austen stan. So we're gonna go for those cobblestones.
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you that I just watched Sense and Sensibility and then started listening to the audiobook.
Wow. You're deep in it.
it's so exactly. So being like castles, cobblestone, I feel very seen. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well done, agent. Man. This is a very good trip.
The only thing I would have added was fado clubs in Lisbon, which are
what are those?
There's like a section in the old quarter where it's just all these fado clubs where it's people singing sad music in Portuguese.
Ooh.
And you just go and you just drink wine, eat fish, and listen to, and it's like there'll be like one person on guitar, and then like a person will stand up and sing a song, and it'll be the most amazing song, and then they'll sit back down and keep eating. And then another person will stand up who looks like, they're like an accountant, and they'll have a beautiful voice and they'll sing a song.
They're like, who, at least me? The one that I've got to bare my soul. Sure.
Oh my God. Have you guys been to any of these? Or is
I've been to Spain.
Oh my gosh.
And as far as public spaces go, like in Madrid, all I did was like walk around, read a book, and fall asleep in parks. And it was great. And drink a lot of sangria.
Spain okay, wow.
Is so good for public spaces.
I can't believe you guys that I'm already this excited about traveling after explaining to you guys that I'm not there.
Well, you've turned around. Garrett.
Yeah, okay. Well, so this is one that I was working on, and then you said some things that made me start doing a road trip through Portugal and Spain, but I have gotten back to this one now.
Okay. So fair. So we know it wasn't your first choice, but because of
No, he's a professional. He's a professional. He can adjust.
Yes, on the fly. Okay, so I'm going to send you on a 2-week river cruise down the Danube.
Oh my God.
So that is starting in Amsterdam, and I'm going to send you all the way to Belgrade. And along the way, there's cities such you'll see. So I'm going to, first off, let me, it's going to be an old riverboat, European riverboat, hardwood inside. You'll have your own cabin. You'll be there with a couple of other friends that you choose that are also introverted. And they'll each have their own cabin, hardwood, brass kind of accents, a balcony.
My own space on a trip and a balcony?
Yes, a balcony that looks out along the riverfront.
So I'm going to close my eyes just because this is great. So just keep going.
So you'll
just
go
so
along.
You know, it's Garrett talking. It's not me talking. This is his trip.
I know. Don't get too confused.
Yeah.
So you'll see, say, for instance, you'll go through Cologne. You'll see the Black Cathedral towering over the city.
Wow.
You'll stop and enjoy Cologne's famous beer scene. Every bar serves their own Kolsch beer, which is very light, refreshing beer. And all you do is you go in and you just hold up a finger, and they plop down however many fingers you held up, that's how many beers you get, and they're little beers, and you just keep drinking, and they mark it on your beer mat, and then at the end of the night you bring up your beer mat and you pay for however many you had brought to you, and then you'll end up back on your riverboat. In your cabin, I have personally made sure that there's a little library of books in your room.
Oh my God.
That's cute as fuck.
Yeah, with books such as 13 Reasons Why, Sharp Objects, Foucault's Pendulum, which I highly recommend, The Lovely Bones, Outlander series, all of Jane Austen, The Rook, Ninth House, The Secret History, among other books that will be on this bookshelf.
Wow.
At this time, also, there will be some speakers. This is happening right when Lord's album just came out.
Wait, have we talked about Lord? We haven't talked about Lord, have we?
We haven't.
Oh my God. Wow.
But this is involving a little time bending. So this is
wow.
Right when Lord's new album dropped.
Not that this is unique again. Love Lord. Absolutely love Lord. Would die if she dropped a whole new album for us right now. Okay.
And so you'll 2 weeks leisurely going down the Danube, seeing all these cities out from your balcony, and then getting to drop in on them in the evening to eat and to see some of the sights.
I love that.
And then you're back on the boat, and you're not moving. You're not moving at night. The boat doesn't move at night because that's
it, and that's important. And here's why:
because you want to see all the landscape. You don't want to miss anything.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true.
And the sharks come out at night.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
All right.
Oh my god.
So, Spanish road trip or Danube river tour?
You guys, this is so hard because I really thought it was going to be Spain and Portugal, but now the idea of being on the boat sounds so nice. But I want to go to Spain and Portugal. But I think, okay, wait, let me think about this. Okay, I think it's hard because I'm torn between, I think, what sounds the most fun and what sounds like what I can sort of emotionally withstand today. And my current frame of mind, which is I'm tired, and I've been traveling.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is crazy, and I'm honestly surprised. Okay, and I'm gonna go on the riverboat tour.
Oh, this is heartbreaking.
I know. Me too. I was completely sold on Spain and Portugal.
Why is this happening to me? This is just so you know. Spoiler for another episode. In another episode, I basically made somebody's dream trip, but because it was the dream trip they would feasibly do and not the one that they didn't think they were capable of, they picked Garrett's. And so this is so heartbreaking because it feels like history repeating itself.
Totally. Where I am like agent, and what's your agent name? Am I allowed to know?
Panakukin, yeah.
Yeah, Agent Panakukin. I'm like, you and I, when you're not on your duty, like we should go on that trip,
Yeah.
And Agent
Sticky Toffee Pudding.
Agent Sticky Toffee Pudding can come with us, of course, absolutely. But I'm just like, when you were saying that, I was like, yeah, we actually should go. Genuinely, once you were saying that, I was like, wait, we should literally in the real world go on this trip. And then what Garrett's saying, I am also like, I don't think that exists. where they put these books in your room for you that you want, or I don't know if that exists, where you can be on a riverboat.
So he had more magic and whimsy.
So yes, okay, yeah. So it was the whimsy, and it was also, I think, it's unfortunately my frame of mind today on this day in just life, which is that I'm like pretty tired. I'm a little peopled out. I'm like,
I mean, I think this could exist, though. I think we could put together a riverboat cruise and get everybody that's coming on it, have them submit their book tastes, and then we cater a little library in each room to that guest.
Yeah,
I think this is a good business proposal.
Yeah, and I also was like, I've already been on the Danube on a river tour for a day. I've already done that. So I was like, there's no way I want to do it again. But I'm just in my headspace today. It's like, you know what? I kind of just want to be like in a wooden room with some books and like see my friends for like a wine dinner.
Yeah, there's something safe about less surprises.
Exactly. Yeah. And while, an Agent Panakukin's trip was more active. And I will say, I want to do that when I've like had my downtime. Then I want to go on that trip. And I do think we should go on that trip in real life.
I would love to do that trip. I feel like, you know what? That wasn't your dream trip because it's our dream trip.
Exactly. And like literally you should save this document so that we can refer to it when we plan a trip.
I know, because looking, I was like, this would be great. But yeah, I was like, I should have pitched it that I would go as well. Instead of that.
Right. That would have been the
old couple.
All right, Mia, thank you. Thank you for choosing my trip.
Oh my gosh. Thank you both so much.
Yeah. I'm fucked for this promotion. I really am, but I'll keep trying.
The work was perfect. It was perfect. It's truly it came down to my state of mind today. And I'm in a want to be shut up in a room with a book kind of vibe.
I respect it.
Our boss is a numbers guy. All he sees are wins and losses, and
I got a couple zeros, but she'll come back.
Yeah. And she's good. It was like we're gonna actually go on the trip, but
All right, Mia, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much for what is sort of was also kind of just like a free massage where I just got to hear like two like absolutely fantasy daydream situations and just feel like I feel really like uplifted and relaxed.
Oh, good. We'll just have to make them happen someday.
And that was Mia Schaffler. She chose wisely. She chose from her heart. She would make that choice every time.
I just like to say we had technical difficulties in the middle of this episode, and had Mia decided on the day she was talking about traveling, I think she would have chosen my trip.
We'll never know. A win is a win. What am I at now? 2-1. I got Liz, and now Mia. You got Kevin.
You're taking all my good friends.
And you're getting my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, Mia's both of our friends.
Well.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, okay. Mia is... you are closer to Mia, sure.
Not anymore. Not after this.
Oh, well.
I feel like I don't know her at all.
It looks like I really know her.
Mm-hmm.
And you won Kevin with made up a bunch of guys that he's going to beat in arm wrestling.
I feel like you're just jealous of my imagination and creativity.
All right. Well, until next week, everybody, we will...
Where can people follow Mia?
Oh, check her out. She's got some great follows. I set up a time limit thing on my phone.
Oh, so you can't pull her up?
I can't pull her. I'm pulling her up now. Okay, so on Instagram, you can follow her at It's Mia Schaffler. That's It's Mia SCHAUFFLER.
And you're going to be seeing that queen in a ton of killer commercials because nobody books like that lady.
Yeah, the queen of booking. When you follow her, you'll see like all of her commercials right there. And you'll be like, oh, I know this one, I know this one, I know this one. Yeah. And then on Twitter, just Mia Schauffler. At Mia Schauffler.
Yeah. And again, you can always see her on Herald Night at UCB with her lovely team Leroy.
Yeah, and they do shows around town. By the time this comes out, you'll have just missed her show at the Yard with Leroy.
She told us to plug it, but hey, if you have access to a time machine, go back in time to last night and check her out.
Sunday, the 28th of August.
Oh, wow.
Where are we? When is it?
All right, until next time.
Stay sneaky.
Yeah, keep flying.
Keep flying and stay sneaky on that plane.